Welcome back. You're watching Daybreak. Thank you for staying with us. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. So yesterday there was a talk about the politics of betrayal during a church service in Thika, the county of Kiambu, attended also by the lawmaker representing Githunguri constituency, Gathoni wa Mushomba. She was in the company of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and here's what she said.
We hate betrayal. Na ile maneno inapangwa sababu tumesikia hiyo impeachment inapangwa saa hii. Na wale ambao wanatumika kusaini na kuleta kule bunge ni wale tu walitudhulumu, wakatutukana na wakatupeleka katika uchungu ambao ninaongea. My president, please remember. I want you to remember. Kiambu County tulikupatia kura 606,000. 606,000 votes. That was a whole 74% of the votes we casted as Kiambu County. Rais, hata kama huna heshima na kura za Tharaka Nithi, hata kama huna heshima na kura za Murang'a, na kuomba nikiwa hapa Kiambu, hizo kura tulikupatia na kuomba zipatie heshima. Wachana na Rigathi wa Gachagua afanye kazi. Heshima. Wachana na Rigathi wa Gachagua afanye kazi ile tulimpatia.
Yes, Honorable Mushomba, who is planning the impeachment?
Si unaona vile nilikuwa nimeokoka jana. You know, my brother, tuko kwa hizi mitandao na hizi corridors za siasa. Na vile tunaangalia maneno na vile tunaongea na watu na tunasikiza na tunaona an impeachment is on the way. Na tumeisikia wenzetu wakituambia. Na hiyo ni maneno ambayo lazima sisi ambao tunatoka kwa mlima tuongee na tuongee kinaga ubaga. What I spoke about yesterday, I will speak about it today. We never ever expected that honorable press maneno ya maendeleo ama maneno inayohusu to discuss maneno ya maendeleo ama maneno inayohusu watu wa mlima. Because that is what he promised. Not only did he promise during campaigns, but even after he was duly elected, when the ODM and the Azimio were in the streets, he came to Mount Kenya region. I remember he started in Githurai, akaenda replay his clips saying he will never patiana nusu mukate. That is what he said. Mimi naweza patiana nusu mukate. Barely 1 year after that, he gave out his section of government. And now, the worst and the painful part is that there is a very serious plan to push out the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
By who?
By people very close to the president, because they are the ones who are speaking to us, telling us. In fact, I'm sure you've seen even some tweets, people saying in 2 weeks he will be home. Have you seen those tweets? Those are people who are very close to the president. Those are the advisors of the president. Those are the very close people who advise the president and help the president. If such communication is coming to us, what do you expect us to behave? I personally feel the president himself must give a nod to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. And all what we want from the president is nothing else. Not an on top of the roof car promise, not a presser to tell us there is no impeachment, a vision which he uses to communicate government plans. And promise this country that he is going to defend his deputy president, he is going to fight for his deputy president as he promised during our Kasarani nomination. I was there when we nominated His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto as our candidate in UDA to vie as a president. And he promised on top of, in front of the cameras, and he said he was tormented, he faced a lot of tribulations when he was the deputy president, and he said never again will a deputy president of the Republic of Kenya go through what you went through.
Okay.
But that is what we are seeing.
Well stated. Now,
for example, yesterday we went with the deputy president to church. The deputy president is supposed to be given his privileges. He's supposed to be given an escort when he's going to church. He's going to be given security. He's supposed to be given all his privileges. Can somebody tell us whether yesterday Deputy President got all his privileges as a Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya?
You are with him?
I was with him the whole day.
Did he?
No, he did not get all the privileges. He did not get.
And did he?
And who is this person whose job is to remove those privileges from the Deputy President's office? Who is this person whose business is to remove the Deputy President from the diary of the Executive President? Who is this person whose business is to make sure he messes around the schedules of the President so that the Deputy President doesn't get to know where the President is going?
Okay.
And that is why we are saying the President must come out very clearly and tell us as Mount Kenya region voters, we must be told that whether the President is now ready to divorce. We must be told whether the President has gotten enough of the 7 million votes we gave him as Mount Kenya region.
Okay, hold it there.
Yes.
Abraham, can I as well get the Deputy President's remarks as well on betrayal and the call he made to the President who was in New York City attending the UN General Assembly? Yeah, here we have it.
And let us not reintroduce the politics of betrayal. President William Ruto is the greatest beneficiary of the peoples of Mount Kenya's district for betrayal. Our people hate betrayal, and they are very unforgiving if you betray them. I asked my brother, President William Ruto, not to be tempted to go to that direction, because these people will be very unforgiving. When there was an attempt to betray him.
Honorable Koech, is that a plea for intervention or a warning to the President?
It's blackmail, actually, if you asked me. First of all, Honorable Mushamba said there are people who are close to the President who are planning an impeachment. I am close to the President. I am not unaware of any impeachment whatsoever. What is happening here is it looks like the Deputy President has a problem with everyone, and no one has a problem with him. You know, from WhatsApp admin managers to, you know, security agencies. You know, he's had a problem with literally everyone, to cabinet secretaries, to, you know, almost everyone. Let me tell you, Ayub, as a country, we've come from far. We've been through so many things. I was there, and I was alive, and I was in last Parliament when the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, was subjected to not a very good situation by the last administration. I have looked at Honorable Gachagua, and I've really wondered what is really happening. You know, whipping emotions. You know, Honorable Mushamba coming out to whip emotions of the people. The Deputy President has refused to be the Deputy President. He has become a Deputy President over certain parts of this country, totally being unconstitutional. That is not what the presidency stands for. I have never ever come to this platform, to your media house, and where issues of tea or coffee or milk, where it touches on my people, I have never, ever even referred to such issues as those of the people of Kericho County, of Belgut constituency. I look at the problems of this country across board, and I do not actually in any single way subject it to be a problem of my region. The Deputy President, in all his statements, refers to himself as the king of the mountain. He refers to himself as addressing issues of the mountain. He is even warning the President that the people of the mountain, Mr. President, gave you vote. They do not like being duped. They do not like their Deputy President being mistreated. Honestly, all these things are happening at the backdrop of a president who is working so hard for this country in New York. You ask yourself, what is the fight? What is the impeachment about? Does the deputy president of this country know something that we, the members of parliament, don't know? If an impeachment motion was today written, as a member of parliament, I'll be aware of it. We are not even on session. Tomorrow we go back to parliament after the weekend. I am not aware of any impending impeachment against the deputy president. What are the grounds of his impeachment, for instance? I can tell you, and I've listened to the tone.
If then you say his constant visits to the Mount Kenya region, as you have mentioned, advancing the cause of, you said, certain part of the region, which according to you is unconstitutional, what then as a member of parliament do you seek or intend to do to remedy that situation? Because the office of the deputy president, which is part of the presidency, ought to espouse national symbol and unity. How do you then remedy that situation?
He is simply playing politics. He's refused to be the deputy president of this country. In fact, the first time that he went to Luo Nyanza was when the president visited the other day. He has refused totally to accept that we are part of this country as other communities. It is nauseating for a deputy president of a country to permanently, in his own speeches, pick in. And by the way, did you watch him the other day in Marikiti? Marikiti has all communities from this country. He was speaking in Kikuyu, in his native Kikuyu language. In my view, that is wrong. And let me tell you, Ayub, that aside, I mean, he can decide to do what he wants to do. He can decide to represent a section of this country. It is unconstitutional, in my view. And let me tell you, there is absolutely nothing wrong with impeachment. Impeachment is a tool that has been provided in the Constitution to check on the executive. It is there in Article 145 of our Constitution. There is absolutely nothing wrong with an impeachment of anyone. So many governors are yet, some of them, I'm told, are being lined up for impeachment. Honorable Kawira Mwangaza has a court order now. She suffered an impeachment recently. The governor of Nyamira suffered an impeachment recently.
And so many other deputy governors.
Yeah, so I don't see anything. I'm saying I'm not aware that there's going to be an impeachment against the deputy president.
But you don't see a problem.
But the Constitution has provided for that provision of impeachment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with an impeachment. And I'm telling you, in the U.S., what Honorable Deputy President is doing in the U.S. is regarded as high crime. It is actually called habitual disregard of public interest in the discharge of the duties of the public. And
in the event an impeachment comes before the National Assembly, will you vote for it?
Definitely.
I will deal with it at that point. But in fact, in Parliament, you are not allowed to imagine. You know, it has to be on the floor of the House. Then you discuss it merit on the floor of the House.
Assuming it comes, you raise fundamental constitutional issues.
It has to satisfy. It has to satisfy the constitutional provisions. Okay. It has to satisfy gross misconduct, as indicated in the Constitution. What has the Deputy President done that has warranted an impeachment?
Senator, where is the Wiper Party in all this, the storm in the presidency?
Well, before I tell you that, I want to tell you that I like what he has said. Anybody should be impeached. And if there is an impeachment motion of the deputy president, then we will also have an impeachment motion of the president.
Good.
Because there are one ticket and there are one people. There's nothing wrong the Honorable Gachagua has done. This trouble started a long time ago.
What is the rationale of bundling them into one?
The rationale is that...
it provided for in law?
Yes. If there's anyone who has breached the Constitution many times, it is the president, not the deputy. Okay. It is the president who has breached the Constitution so many times. So if there's going to be an impeachment motion, then we must tie the two together. While you process one, process the other, and we run the two impeachment motions concurrently. They have to be done at the National Assembly and at the same time done at the Senate. Therefore, whatever is being used as a tool to frustrate Rigathi, there must be a very good ground. There is no constitution the Honorable Rigathi has breached. Charity begins at home. He was a member of parliament in Nyeri. You cannot say you are the deputy president, you are not going to address the issues of your people. You are supposed to go to Rift Valley or to Kambani and address other people's issues there before you address your own people's issue. What is talking about tea? He's also in Rift Valley, and I was there in Kericho, and there's a lot of problems of tea, which the local members of parliament there have refused to sort out. Okay. The senator there has brought, Sigay, has brought a bill in parliament with tea. There is a problem with coffee. There is a problem with macadamia. and they are all grown in the deputy president's backyard. Why will you not, you know, as a deputy president, deal with that? So this problem started a long time ago, and the main character in it was one Honorable Ichung'wah. We have seen what the Honorable Sudi has tweeted. This is something which was there even before he was nominated as a deputy president. And the members of parliament then tried to vote, and they tried to wedge him out.
Okay.
He fought his battles. I used to compare notes a lot with him because we were, both of us, in National Assembly, and we were friends. So I used to share a lot and also give him hints what to do to twist this fellow so that he finds himself in the ticket. And finally he got in the ticket, and the war began immediately to remove him from the ticket. So we want to dare them. Bring on the motion. We'll deal with it in Senate, and we'll also bring a motion against the president himself.
All right. And let me take you back to 18th of February 2023, the early months of the Kenya Kwanza administration. And this was in relation to a court order that was issued in regards to an eviction notice, and that is in Nakuru County, where the deputy president went, and he said if an eviction has to be done for whatever reason, even if with a court order, it has to be discussed by the county security committee. We have instructed the Attorney General to review the case. Any county commander who supervises an eviction, even by a court order, without a case, any county commander who supervises an eviction, even by a court order, without authority from the county security committee, will be on their own. So from the onset, it seems there was a problem with our constitutional order. 30th of August, the same year, 2023, President William Ruto said, the people who steal the future of our children, they must leave Kenya, and they will go to jail, or they have the option of going to heaven. Wajipange namna hiyo. And it's not a threat. I'm not threatening anybody. It's what we will do. Wezi na wakora watahama Kenya, ama wataenda jela, ama wataenda binguni. He has no prosecutorial powers, cannot send someone to jail, and cannot kill someone that's an authority from God, because we all head to heaven. The duo seem to be having no respect for constitutional order, is it?
Well, I want to say that most of the evictions in the country have been illegal, unconstitutional, and a good example is the Marikiti evictions. And a lot of time when people are conducting eviction, they even ban. You remember the other day the church, you know, the churches had a problem along the railway. Quite a number of the leaders of those churches said that there was no due process. So what Honorable Gachagua did that time, the deputy president, when he heard these people were being afflicted, he just used the executive powers he has. He was only administrative, because a lot of time police have mishandled.
There was a court order. Senator Manzon, you are a lawyer.
Well,
what
there's a court order,
the county security
if you remember,
other than enforcing that court order?
If you remember in his own speech, he said then the Attorney General to go back to court and review, of which you must be given an opportunity. You know, when you are supposed to be evicted, you are supposed to be given a notice in the court order, at least 7 days. So what eviction are these? You have a court order today, and without following your own court order, you evict people at night, or you ban their premises, like in Kekomba. So if you have an eviction order, it must follow the due process of law. You cannot get an eviction order which says give people 7 days notice, and without giving notice, you go and evict people. That is totally unconstitutional and illegal, even if you have a court order.
The process was adhered to, but was it right for both, in many cases, the president and the deputy, to ignore and not adhere to court orders?
No, they should. And if they don't follow court order and they don't review the court orders in time, then of course they have breached the constitution, and both of them should be impeached. If there is an impeachment which should be done to anyone, then it should begin with the president, not the deputy president.
Yes, Honorable Mushamba.
The problems that Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is going through right now started from the word go, when he was nominated as a running mate for the president of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto. I was in the room.
May 2022.
I attended 3 meetings, stormy meetings, fiery meetings. The first meeting we did not agree. The second meeting we did not agree. The third meeting we had to agree by timelines.
What was the agreement about, or on?
The agreement was the running mate was supposed to come from Mount Kenya region. So those members of parliament who were already in parliament, including Rigathi Gachagua, who was also a member of parliament, were supposed to get into a room and agree to nominate one person who is going to be the running mate. And the candidates that were on the front line was Ndindi Nyoro, Alice Wahome, Rigathi Gachagua, and Professor Kithure Kindiki. And we went round 1 nominations. We dropped Dende Nyoro and we dropped Alice Wahome. We were left with Professor Kindiki and Rigathi Gachagua. We had to cast ballots inside the room. And we got 5 votes for Rigathi Gachagua against 11 votes for Professor Kithure Kindiki. The rest of the people who were outside did not attend the meeting. Then we decided to whip each other and increase the numbers. So we whipped each other and we did the second round of nomination. And Rigathi Gachagua got 21 votes and Kithure Kindiki got 38 votes. And we did not agree, and the meeting was scattered, and we were requested to attend the next day, early morning, so that we can now conclude.
Why did you not agree?
We did not agree because the president himself wanted Rigathi Gachagua. Majority of the members, the 38 of them, wanted Professor Kithure Kindiki. So we had to justify why we wanted Professor Kindiki versus Rigathi Gachagua. For me, I was supporting Rigathi Gachagua from the word go. And I had my own reasons. And I told the president, if you go with a popular candidate, these people will swing you all the time because they are majority and they have the favorable candidate. Get the one who is not liked, because this guy, even if he's not liked, he is a worker. He is the administrator. You need an administrator. And I even reminded him, Your Excellency, you have never been employed in your life. You don't know how to wake up in the morning to go to an office and go to an authority. That is what I told the president of the day. I told him that. You need an administrator, somebody who has ever reported in an office, somebody who has worked in the administrative system, somebody who knows how governments are run. And you need Rigathi Gachagua. I remember giving that kind of a moving speech to the president. Now, the people who felt like they were defeated, and let me tell you, when we went home the next day, the next morning, Rigathi Gachagua was supposed to come dressed in a suit with his wife. Professor Kithure Kindiki was not supposed to come dressed, ready for acceptance. When Professor Kindiki realized that the president wanted Rigathi Gachagua, he switched off his phone and disappeared on us. He ran away. He disappeared for 3 days. He even tweeted and wrote on social media, I've had enough. And so we told the president, if your own person, the candidate that people are giving you, is running away and switching off his phone, what kind of a deputy president will he be if he ever become? That's how Rigathi Gachagua became the deputy president nominee. So his problems started from the majority of those who didn't want him. They started fight from the word go. And all they do is that whenever they have the access to the president, they will always demean him. They will always try and push the second card, the bad card, the demeaning card, and that is what they've been working to. And they are scheming. They have been scheming all along.
So that's from the
from the word go
on the 9th of 15th May 2022.
Exactly.
Culminating on the 16th of May.
Yes.
After a long night of waiting.
Yes.
In which Hussein Mohammed came to address the press at about 12 a.m.
Yes.
Then day after the following day.
Yes.
And who are the people who from the onset disliked Rigathi Gachagua?
I want to be very honest with you. The people who did not want Rigathi Gachagua are the people who thought that Rigathi Gachagua will block them from doing the dirty deals that they are doing today.
And who are they?
They are the people who claim they own UD party, and this government belongs to us. Those are the people.
And their names that you know?
They are the people who thought that Wamushomba or Nelson cannot be elected without their nod.
So who are they, I mean?
They are the people who think even today, all deals that are done by, including this Adani thing, they must rubber stamp.
And who are they?
They are the people who think they own this country.
Sorry, you made your point.
The people who think they own this country.
Sorry, you made your point. Because we want to get specifics here.
Yes.
And you are on national TV.
Yes.
You talked yesterday in church.
Yes.
But there is ambiguity. You are still hovering around the names.
Yes.
Who are they?
These people are the Mount Kenya mafia in Kibaki's regime.
I was in primary school. And
no
knowledge of that.
Unfortunately.
But who are they? I'm sure they have names.
They are people who are holding very strategic offices in this country.
In government or outside
They
government?
can decide whether you will make a business, you do business today or you'll not do. Yes.
So they're from Mount Kenya region?
They are from Mount Kenya region.
Okay.
And they have a periphery.
They're from Mount Kenya region?
They are from Mount Kenya region.
Okay.
And they have a periphery support from the people who surround the president during his thesis, who are implementing what the mafias want. And those mafias must be told that they only voted William Samoei Ruto with one vote. One. They only, I'm not even sure whether they voted, by the way. They must be told that the politics of betrayal have no space in this country, and we're not going to allow. Okay. Some of us are not going to allow them.
And I ask you again one more time, who are these people?
These are the people who have corruption cases, and they are holding government positions strategically, and they don't obey court orders, and they drive vehicles that have no number plates, and there are people who even have the audacity to tap our phones and record and register all the conversations we are going. To tap our phones and record and register all the conversations we are going. Against what the president said in Kasarani. That his regime will be a regime where people are not going to be scammed on their phones.
Okay.
People are no longer going to use WhatsApp to communicate in his regime. Those are the people who are intimidating us. Those are the people who threaten us. Those are the people who keep sending alarms to us, telling us, you will see who we are. You will know who we are.
Okay.
And for us, we have decided, kama mbaya, mbaya.
Honorable Kwech, I'll come to you. And one more question, Honorable Wamushomba. Yesterday you spoke so passionately about the Deputy President and coming to his defense during the early months as well of the Kenya Kwanza administration. And this is just on moral basis, where he said that Kenya is a shareholding entity where the people who voted for it, he meant the people of the Rift Valley region and Mount Kenya region, should be favored over other Kenyans, including those who did not vote for the president. In your view, was that a fair statement to make, given that Kenya is a constitutional democracy?
Actually, one of the reasons why the Deputy President is having a lot of problems with people like Nelson Koech, he's just said here that Deputy President is a Deputy President of Mount Kenya. Why do they have a problem when Rigathi Gachagua is coming for a wedding in his village? Why do they have a problem when Rigathi Gachagua is coming for a condolences meeting like yesterday afternoon? We went into a home, and our sincere condolences to the MCA who lost his life through a road accident in Thika. But why do people have a problem when you're going to your village to galvanize your village? What's the problem? And what is the problem when the Deputy President says, we voted for this government because we believed in it? And we believed that because we voted for this government, we should be given some development projects.
Oh, I think we progressed from that, Honorable Musho. My question was that...
That's where I'm going.
Was the statement he made in regards to the description of Kenya as a shareholding entity fair, according to you, as the representative of the people of Githongori?
Why would I have a problem accepting that people voted for a government, yet they voted? Why would I have a problem people voted for me, and yet if they voted for me? That is factual. The Mount Kenya people voted for this government, so they belong to this government.
That's not the point, Honorable Mushomba. He said the people of the Rift Valley region, it was in Nandi County, and the people of the Mount Kenya region, he meant the Kalenjins and the Kikuyus, should have more preferential treatment than other Kenyans. Was it fair, in your view, as a parliamentarian, as a lawmaker, to make statement, yet he holds an office that's supposed to espouse national unity, but his statements were at odds with the very same office that he holds? Was it fair, in your view, to make such a statement?
I am not so sure whether I understand you the way you understand that statement, because for me, I believe it is fair for you to give people development if you promised. I believe it is fair for you to promise to deliver what you promised to the people so that they can give you vote. If the president promised the Rift Valley people, he must deliver.
What about other Kenyans?
If he promised the Mount Kenya region people that he's going to complete all the stalled projects, if he promised that he's going to complete Mau Mau Roads project, he must deliver. And I guess that is where the Deputy President was saying, these people believed in you, believed in this government, and that is why they gave you the votes. So you must also make sure that they get what they expected, because you promised. And I guess that...
If, say, you are elected the President of the Republic of Kenya tomorrow, would you favor the major regions that voted for you, or you will serve the Kenyan?
I would make sure that any region where I visit and I give a promise, I deliver.
Is it a promise or
it's a coincidence that the areas where the president had visited so oftenly and promised so oftenly was the Mount Kenya region and the Rift Valley, because those were his strongholds. So if he made many promises in those areas, then he has the obligation to deliver.
Okay.
And unfortunately, our president is faring very poorly on matters credibility, because whatever he says does not conceptualize. That is the problem.
Thank you. He visited many places, including Wakambani. Yes, Honorable Koech, I'll come to you.
I hope he promised.
He did some promises.
I hope he promised.
Let me say something. And I really like the statement by Honorable Mushomba. William Samoei Ruto, the president of this country, picked the deputy president, Gachagua, against a popular will of many members of parliament from Mount Kenya region at that time. That was a sacrifice by the deputy president. The president today has given responsibilities to his deputy president. An executive order was issued for the deputy president to run with the programs of tea, coffee, and milk. He is also the chair of the cabinet subcommittee that is going to look on all issues that affect those sectors. That is the responsibility that was assigned. Not even William Samoei Ruto was assigned by Uhuru Kenyatta. In the executive, and let us be very fair, and I really don't like to debate about this Mount Kenya issue, but in all fairness, almost half of the cabinet are from Mount Kenya region, including the deputy president, are from Mount Kenya region. The chairman in parliament, where resources are allocated, the chairman of finance, the chairman of budget, the majority leader are from Mount Kenya region. What is it that the people of Mount Kenya want beyond that?
Project.
The president, let me just finish, I gave you all the time. The president was in China, negotiating for a 45 billion loan to finish the Mau Mau roads. The president is pulling all stops to make sure that the people of Mount Kenya are catered for. The responsibility of making sure that the coffee prices and the tea prices and the milk prices are better squarely lies with the deputy president. What is it that the deputy president is asking for? And that is why I'm saying, and why I have a problem. I do not have a problem with Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, the deputy president of this country, as a person. I have a problem with him being the deputy president, because presidency comes with responsibility. In fact, when you have ambition, you must maintain some strategic patience. The deputy president is not showing any of that. There has been a lot of insults targeted at the president for no apparent reason. So my question is, what are we looking for? Is if the people of Mount Kenya are looking for development, the president has been very deliberate in making sure that the people from that region are in very key positions in government to make sure that they can be very strategic in anything that they want.
What happens, for example, you said if the region gets half of the cabinet, and this is where the problem is. This is where the appointing authorities in this country get it wrong.
Yes.
Then what happens to some regions in this country that have no cabinet ministers, but they could be in the principal secretary's lot? Then what happens if certain region is given half of the cabinet? A person from the region, as you have pointed out, Ndindi Nyoro chairs the Budget and Appropriations Committee. The Finance and National Planning Committee is chaired by Kuria Kimani, the Molo MP, considered largely as part of the Mount Kenya movement, and also the leader of the majority party. Why would then the president, in your view, unfairly award one region over others where there is no representation
first of all, I was trying to demystify this thing that people believe that there's a problem that probably the president has with the Mount Kenya region.
Other than that,
he kept his promise.
Yeah,
number one. My question is from Honorable Mushomba's statement alone, the deputy president was not meant to be picked. He was not even picked by the members of parliament.
And that is why they are fighting him.
And to be picked. He was not even picked by the members of parliament.
And that is why they are fighting him.
Room and asked, can you pick who you think will be your deputy president? They disagreed. The president went against them and picked Honorable Rigathi Gachagua. So my issue is this, that what the president has done now, and why even you see Honorable Manzo with all this statement is a jilted lover. The president has decided,
I have never been in love with the president.
This is a tone of a jilted lover. People who have been left by, what the president has done is to have a broad-based government, where we will have a Turkana in Madame's school being part of his government, where we will have Joho from the coast being part of his government, where we will have the first Luo cabinet secretary of finance in Honorable Mbadi being the Minister of Finance. That is the country that we want. That is the face of the country that we want. We make mistakes, but we learn from our mistakes. We want to have the face of this country. We want this country to have development in equal measure. And that is why it is a deliberate effort by the president to make sure that we have everyone represented in this government. Okay. And for development to go out in this government. Yes. You had Honorable Wamushomba, a chair of a committee in Parliament, saying the president has been making promises. We do the budget in Parliament. Okay? When we do the budget in Parliament, we know where our resources is. We are operating without a finance bill of 2024-2025. We are operating without a finance bill of 2023-2024. We are literally operating in some space that is not described in fiscal terms as anything. All right. So how do you expect the president to actualize some of these promises if you do not support him as members of Parliament?
Why does he promise?
All your weekends insulting the president.
Why does he promise?
I am ashamed to say that it is unfortunate that this statement that was issued yesterday by Honorable Mushamba was issued in a church pulpit. Thank you. That is not
Honorable Koech, you made your point. Allow me to ask you this then. Your justification, let's have some order.
Go to church on Saturday and issue your statement.
Let's have some order. Honorable Koech, you mentioned as a justification that Mount Kenya is not locked out, given the number of cabinet secretaries they have, the influential positions they share in the National Assembly. Why would, for example, then to flip this conversation, because it's a Kenyan affair, because Kenya is just a mosaic of many ethnic communities. Why did, when he formed his cabinet, President William Ruto not give at least 7 cabinet secretaries to Luo Nyanza, Western, Central, Coast Region, Ukambani in Northeastern? Does it mean there are no competent persons or professionals? No. Does it mean there are no people without integrity?
The cabinet is a small representation of the entire country, ordinarily. Okay, because you have only 22 positions for cabinet. Not every community. We have more than 42.
Why is one given 7 and then others are completely locked out
in this country? Now,
my point is just fair representation.
Why do you look for political power? Yeah. Why do you run for presidency? You run for presidency so that you have some clout and have your own people. It happens everywhere in the world. It happens in the US, where you have your team joining government because they understand more of your policies than any other person. They understand a manifesto. In this case, Kenya Kwanza administration was fairly and largely Mount Kenya, Rift Valley, and a section of Western Kenya, and now pockets of other communities coming together. So I think in his fair judgment, it was only a good thing to make sure that the people who really understood your manifesto, the people who came to your support, are given a good part of the government because they understand. But in issues of permanent, in administrative issues where the permanent secretaries now will come in, you will have all these communities of the country spread across because you have very few positions. And I think that is why the president was very, very fair to have almost half of the cabinet going to the Mount Kenya region.
And he ended up on 2nd of August 2023 telling that some of them are incompetent. He knows more than them in their dockets. They don't pick their calls. They change clothes at airports. They're always on the flight radar. I mean, if it was based on those who understand the Kenya Kwanza manifesto and then you question their competence and capability, was it fair in the first place to award political loyalty when there is competence and a pool of professionals that you can easily pick up from and they're represented across the country? You can easily get
I'll tell you something. There are two different things. By looking very professional and acting professional are two different things. I have done interviews for and vetted cabinet secretaries. They are cabinet secretaries, when you look at their CV, extremely colorful. They have achieved all academic qualification you will need in this world. But I tell you, immediately they get to office, you wonder if that is the person you vetted. They are different things.
Point made.
It comes with wisdom.
This show is becoming between you and him. You're not speaking.
You had the time as well, Honorable Honorable Mushomba.
You have given him 10 minutes.
You also have a lot of time on your end, Honorable Mushomba.
Yeah, a moment. Yes. I just want to say that.
Take all the time, because we've been very unfair to you.
I just want to say that, all this has happened, and first and foremost, the statement by Honorable regarding that time about a company, in the true sense of meaning, then unless he explained it further, wasn't fair. It looked as if, there are more important Kenyans than others. And I want to say that, it's good to make sure that when you form government, you carry everybody on board. It is true many promises were made to the Rift Valley and central Kenya during the campaign, the bigger region which largely voted President Ruto, but unfortunately he never kept those promises. There are quite a number of many other promises. He promised never to mistreat a deputy government, a deputy president. He is mistreating a deputy president. He promised never to have people thrown into River Yala. We have not seen bodies in River Yala, but we have seen bodies in Kwale. We have disappearances. The situation is even worse than it has ever happened since independence in Kenya when it comes to the security of individual Kenyans. And I want to say on that particular promise, the president had failed miserably, and many, many other promises. There's a road in Kuresoi, which he promised up to now. That road is the worst road in Kenya. Even the ones in Ukambani are better off. So we want leaders to be held accountable. And more important, when you make promises, you keep them. When you promise that you will never mistreat a deputy president, don't go and sponsor the Ishungwas of this world and others to go and bring an impeachment motion to the House. We are really looking forward to that impeachment motion. And we also want an impeachment motion against the president who has breached the Constitution more times than the deputy president.
Yeah. So in your view, there is an impeachment in the offing?
I see it. Everything is leading to that direction. Sudi has tweeted. Sudi is not a politician you will take like a joke. Ishungwa, Kimani Ishungwa, the leader of majority, has hinted at it many, many times from beginning. And I believe, as the leader of majority, is going to mobilize members of National Assembly and the members from his community to append their signatures on the impeachment of Gachagua. So we are waiting for that moment. They have threatened him enough. Let them put their threats into action. Yeah.
So the Wiper Party is sympathetic towards the deputy president?
Well, we want to look at the facts. We want to look at, right now we are in the opposition. We are in Azimio. We are the alternative government. We are checking the current government. But when it comes to justice, we shall do the right thing when the motion comes to the floor of the House.
Yes, Honorable Mushomba.
In my community, in my hoods, in my village, we normally say, if you want to eat a sweet meals served with chicken, trust the slaughterman to slaughter the chicken and not mess with the boil. Is it called the boil? That small the gastric bladder.
Yes.
Because if you mess with it, if it pours on the meat, then you're not going to enjoy that meat.
The same happens also for...
The same happens even for politics. President William Ruto had a very good chicken to be slaughtered. And he systematically gave it to somebody who he knew is going to mess up with the gastric juice. And the gastric juice has poured on the meat. So we have the meat, but we cannot eat it. That is Mount Kenya's perspective of President William Ruto's government. Why do I say that? Because he has explained very well, my brother here, that Mount Kenya, we have the Minister for Finance, we had the Minister for Roads, we had the Minister for Land, the Minister for Water, Minister for almost everything. But those ministers only have a flag and the titles. But when it comes to the power of the pen, the power of the money, rest with the PS. In all those strategic ministries that he has given to Mount Kenya, who are the PSs? They are PSs who report to the president directly. And I know what I'm talking about. We have had scenarios where we allocate budgets in parliament. I fight very hard to have Mau Mau Roads allocated money. I have fought very hard to make sure that in the coffee sector, we get money like for the Cherry Coffee Advanced Cherry Fund. And then behind the scenes, somebody with the power of the pen request for reallocation of the same money that we have allocated in parliament, without our consent and without our knowledge. And I want to put it in record, Mau Mau Roads, which the president has talked about almost in every meeting whenever he comes to Mount Kenya, promising to finish. Last year's Finance Bill 2023, we allocated 250 million to my constituency and my neighboring constituency to finish Mau roads. 3 months, barely 3 months after we allocated 250, the PS in charge of that ministry was instructed to reallocate that money and only leave us with 70 million. 70 million was not even adequate to even enable the contractor to mobilize to go back on site. And that is a trend. So these people are here telling us, oh, you have the chicken. It is there for you are eating. Okay. But they have already messed it up. It's already bitter. We can't eat it.
Yes.
Look, just about 2 weeks ago, I highlighted the same scenario where the minister, when we allocated money for cherry funds in Parliament for coffee farmers, we decided that farmers are going to be given a fund where they can borrow to facilitate their coffee management. It is called Coffee Cherry Advance Fund. That money was particularly supposed to be accessed by only coffee farmers. Then the PS, under whoever's instruction, writes a letter to Treasury and requests to reallocate that money from coffee farmers to some funny groups that are not even existed in records. And please remember, this money was supposed to be a loan facility for farmers. Then it is being reallocated to fund groups as grants.
This is my point.
I have the letter here. I can. By the way, this is not propaganda.
Yes,
I have the letter here. I can table the letter because me, I believe in terms
from the PS. I want you to ask.
Are you the spokesperson of the PS?
Totally, no.
And this is
we have to be factual. You're not national television.
You'll get to I'll come to you, Honorable. Just for a moment. Just be patient.
Even local stations.
Yes, Honorable.
This is a serious conversation. This is a serious conversation.
Are you trying to tell me that I am not factual?
That you are not factual.
I'm not factual. Why? The letter is here.
The PS refuted your statements.
But why he wrote the letter?
The PS statement.
This is where he wrote. This is the letter.
Okay.
This is the letter. It is written by who?
No, this is a request for allocation. I'm asking you for the allocation. I'm asking you the statement that the PS issued against your purported letter. There's another statement.
I'm asking you.
There's another statement.
This letter is saying the money should be reallocated. I want you to prove on this national TV that this letter is not factual.
Why are we discussing only one area?
Okay.
Why is the discussion?
Because coffee is not important to you. Coffee is important to us.
And this is the point.
Coffee is very important to us.
This is my point.
An issue.
They have members of parliament. They have members of parliament. Let them come here and defend the project.
Githunguri issues on a national TV.
Excuse me. I am elected to prosecute the Githunguri issues.
We are representing people, but the discussion here...
You have a problem even with your tea farmers in your own constituency. You should actually be telling us what you have done with your farmers.
I know how to do it in Parliament. I don't go on churches pulpit discussing issues for my constituency.
Thank you. I am ably representing my voters here. I am not here as a celebrity. I am here as a member of parliament.
You are here
representing Githunguri. And if the issue I'm speaking about touches on his voters, let it be. But he cannot come here and start telling me that I should not advocate issues of Githunguri.
I'll come to you this time.
Money was supposed to be reallocated. It's only that we flagged this letter. And the PS in charge of Treasury had to run helter-skelter. By the way, he was not even in the country. He tried even calling me, telling me, oh, Amushamba, this letter, it was written, it was an error. How can you tell me the letter was an error?
Let me ask you this, Honorable Mushomba.
Okay.
Yes, Honorable Koech, please take over.
You know, I really have to struggle to keep my... Because we are on a national TV. Let me say this. If there is a situation where certain cabinet secretaries are feeling uncomfortable with being in their offices, like Honorable Mushomba is saying, there's a fair thing to do is to resign from those positions. If you feel uncomfortable, if you feel that your peers is more superior than you, then you resign. But I can tell you resources in this country, huge resources, particularly even that one that is going to Mau Road. The president is working so hard to make sure that every part of this country gets a fair share of the cake, gets a fair share of projects that are supposed to be executed. We must have a tarmac running in Homa Bay as well. We must have a tarmac running in Belgut. We must have a tarmac running in Mandera. We must have a tarmac running in Makueni. You never speak about it. You're simply speaking about how you support the president.
And the deputy.
Those are the things that we should be talking about in this national conversation. I tell you, the president is working day and night to make sure that as a country, we are able to maintain the upward trajectory that we find ourselves in. So where there are other issues that touch on local issues, in fact, what I should be asking is, what is the scorecard of the Deputy President on his performance in the tea sector, in the tea reforms? What is he going to bring on the table to tell us where are we with the issues to do with milk? Where are we with the issues to do with tea? There is a responsibility for everyone in the executive, and they must execute their responsibility. All these allegations that are flying back and forth are neither here nor there. Let us have a country that people become responsible. Where anyone in the cabinet is feeling dissatisfied or being part of that cabinet, the best thing is to resign. There are allegations that are running here and there, and allegations of trying to whip emotions, allegations of impeachment, allegations, I don't know, of the Deputy President being sidelined, without any evidence of a Deputy President being sidelined.
No, there is overwhelming evidence.
Is a waste of time.
The reason he has not delivered on the milk and all that, he has been frustrated by the permanent secretary. That's by the way. Every permanent secretary is strategically frustrating the ministers.
How do you know PSs? And you said you're in the...
I know them very well.
Which particular PS has frustrated the Deputy President?
Treasury.
Dr. Chris
Agriculture, yes. And I can assure you, even this body, honorable body, is going to have a very difficult time with the permanent secretary in charge of
You cannot purport to speak for the government. You cannot purport to speak for the minister. You know.
And I have been in
If you check, you don't speak for it.
No. Yeah. I must check. Yeah. And I can assure you, like now, Fuakedam, the monies for Fuakedam have not arrived. The permanent secretary in charge of Treasury is aware. And
Fuakedam is alone. Fuakedam is alone.
They are frustrated that project.
Fuakedam is alone. It is alone. It is not only that.
The chicken is bitter.
The chicken is bitter.
We have Bosto Dam. We have Londiani Dam. Okay? We have
and
so
all of them
many
have stalled because of the permanent secretary in charge of
permanent
Treasury.
secretary.
Honorable Kwaji, let him make his point. Yes, please.
So I want to say that the president has to do something about these permanent secretaries. Otherwise, the government of Kenya is not serving the people of Kenya as it was intended. In fact, there were plans to remove some of them. Most of them are incompetent. They are not aware of what they are doing. Then you need proper people in these ministries to run the ministries.
Thank you. Let's now sample the feedback. The hashtag on X is Citizen Daybreak. The SMS code is 22422 at Citizen TV Kenya and at Ayub Abdikadir. Here's what you are saying. Frank Korinde says the politics of betrayal has taken center stage as leaders break promises and shift alliances. The impact on government and public trust is undeniable as Wanjeko continues to suffer from high cost of living, high taxes and poor government services. Reme Butia says the smoking ruins of real loyalty and friendship of the president and the DP can be seen from the sarcasm the DP often unveils in his check-in tank celebration of the broad-based government. SRA says Rigiji seems to be using the same playbook Ruto did as DP and Uhuru. What worked then is now under fire. The administration must face the system they shaped, but Ruto's intolerance for dissent may leave little room for challenges. Babu Michael says after the protest initiated by the Finance Bill 2024, it seems that this regime did not learn any lesson. What we are hearing now about the impeachment of the DP and the politics around it isn't important. There are many issues troubling Kenyans. Samuel Owoth says, when will Rigathi Gachagua shift his focus to effective governance and stay clear of manipulating ethnic identities? When will he, as the deputy president, visit other parts of the country? After the last general election, his focus shifted to being a spokesperson for the Mount Kenya region to the detriment of his roles as the deputy president. Well, that's what we have as our feedback. And many thanks for your feedback. We can sample all here at the best interest of time. Honorable Mushomba, Senator Manzo, Honorable Nelson Kwech, thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Please give us another show with Nelson. He's a wonderful debater.
So we make a date now?
He looks like he has a script from the PS.
No,
so we need to understand.
I have the response from the PS and I'll share with you.
Yes.
On
after the.
So he has responded.
No. It's on Twitter.
So you will share with me.
Yeah, I'll share.
Thank you. So we make a date some other time.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
Honorable. Make sure he comes. Make sure he attends.
Much appreciated.
Thank
you. We do another date. Thank you. Honorable Nelson Kwech, MP Belgood constituency, Gathoni wa Mushomba, lawmaker Githunguri constituency, and Honorable Dan Manzo, Senator Makueni County, who made his time this morning here on the broadcast all the way from the county of Makueni. Much appreciated, lady and gentlemen, for your time here on the broadcast. And thanks to you too. Up next is Sporty Monday. Well, must be proud of the boys, Arsenal, who lined up a very defensive lineup against a very formidable opponent at the Blue side of Manchester last night. The Blues also with Steve Shitera's take this week have had what somewhat will consider as the crucial 3 points in London, and we'll be talking about all that and the many more sporting activities, including a special report by Steven Shitera on the golden days of Gor Mahia. Is it a case of Guinea Wasekao again this season in the Kenya Premier League? We'll see you tomorrow morning here on the broadcast. Till then, good morning.